What a lousy morning. It was supposed to be steak today.
This is slop again?
Look, I've been here since 5 o'clock this morning, and I did a really good job with this stew. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't call my food slop.
So, really good, huh? Hey, this isn't so bad. You know, actually, it's really good. I shouldn't have said what I said to that guy. Maybe I ought to tell him.
Hey. Hey. The stew was good.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that, man. Positive attitude, it makes a difference.
The Liberty Bell. It was originally called the Old State House Bell and was cast to commemorate Pennsylvania's 50th anniversary. Upon its arrival in Philadelphia in 1751, it was recast to correct a flaw, then hung in the bell tower of what was to become Independence Hall. The name Liberty Bell comes from its inscription, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." In 1847, its place in American folklore was secured by a story linking its famous crack with the first Independence Day celebration. But the crack actually occurred in 1835, when the bell was rung during a funeral procession. After it was removed from the bell tower, it was struck only on special occasions, such as D-Day during World War II. In 1976, the bell was moved from the lobby of Independence Hall to its own pavilion in Independence Park, where it proudly stands as one of America's great symbols of freedom and democracy.
Category.
It's always a good idea to be saving for a rainy day, especially when your upcoming marriage to a citizen of another country may mean more additional expenses and paperwork costs than you're expecting. Plan ahead. Check with your personnel office about the requirements where you are stationed and budget accordingly.
The great American novel about whaling, Moby Dick, was author Herman Melville's greatest achievement, written when he was 31. Melville had first gone to sea at 18 in the great age of sail. He shipped out on a whaler headed for the South Pacific. There he jumped ship and lived among the island people. 2 books about these exotic adventures, Taipei and Omu, were immensely popular. But his great book, Moby Dick, was not a commercial success. Melville's fame faded, and he worked as a customs officer in New York Harbor in the shadow of ships like those on which he had sailed in his youth. Herman Melville died in 1891, not knowing that in the next century his work would be rediscovered and highly prized, and that Moby Dick would be ranked among the finest American novels.
This soldier will in honored glory rest under my eternal vigilance.
This final line of the Sentinel's creed characterizes the feelings of those who keep watch over the tomb of the unknowns. When the first unknown was interred at Arlington in 1921, the mission of guarding the post was given to civilian watchmen. In 1926, a military guard from the Washington Provisional Brigade took over, but maintained their watch only during daylight hours. 11 years later, the watch was expanded to 24 hours. Then in 1948, the Tomb Guard mission was assumed by the 3rd United States Infantry. Known as the Old Guard, it is the oldest active infantry unit in the U.S. Army. Today, the tomb remains under the watchful eyes of the Old Guard. The qualifications for the post are strict, and the training is difficult. But for those who guard the tomb, there is no higher honor.
You may not remember exactly when it first hit you.
Turn it up about 10 notches down.
But somewhere along the way, you felt it.
Contain now! Contain the person!
And you knew.
Put it in there, baby! Oh, let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's rock it,
You're watching AFN Pacific, a service of AFRTS.
And Headline News, 24-hour non-stop headlines.
From the AFRTS News Center in Washington, this is the 2-Minute Report. I'm Air Force Sergeant Ron Rogers. On this edition, a 2-minute look around the services. The Marine Corps has designated its Communications Electronics School at 29 Palms, California, as a test bed for computerized training. The school is testing a computer program that allows simulated hands-on training while reducing training time. In one course, the software cut training time in half. The school was selected for the test because it's the largest formal school in the Marine Corps. It's also the most comprehensive and technical. The Army Inspector General's office in the Pentagon has created a new Sergeant Major position. Army officials decided the IG would benefit from having a Sergeant Major in the agency to provide an experienced senior enlisted perspective on the issues confronting the Army today. Sergeant Major Jeff Howard will be the first to fill the new position. The U.S. Naval Institute is inviting entries into its annual Vincent Astor Memorial Essay Contest. The contest is open to junior officers and officer trainees from the sea services. Officials say the contest is designed to encourage research, new thinking, and writing on the topic of leadership. Details are available at the Naval Institute's homepage, www.usni.org. 10 lucky people are headed to the Super Bowl January 31st, thanks to the Air Force Services Agency. The agency selected 5 winners from participating members of Air Force clubs. Each winner received 2 game tickets, airfare for 2, hotel accommodations, a rental car, and other gifts. The agency also awarded similar packages to 5 other club members for the Pro Bowl on February 7th. That's the 2-Minute Report from Washington. I'm Air Force Sergeant Ron Rogers.
Your body uses calories much like a car uses fuel. When you eat, you take in fuel, and your body uses it round the clock. When you require more fuel than you've eaten, your body soon dips into its reserve tank of stored body fat, and that's when you start losing weight. To get to that point, it's a matter of calories. Take in less and burn more by being more active. Losing weight takes time, but you'll be happy with the results.
In 1704, the folks in Delaware look at the land given by the Duke of York to William Penn and his family. Why? Because it turns out that the Duke may not have owned all the territory. And a plan is afoot in Delaware to break away from Pennsylvania. News travels all the way to Boston. What else is there in 1704? There's a sleigh you can take to the Bowery on the outskirts of New York City. And the ladies here are baring their ears, very daring, in 1704, in the shaping of America.
Edwin Hubble was a pioneer in the field of astronomy. In 1923, while working as an astronomer at the Mount Wilson Observatory in California, Hubble was the first to confirm the existence of other galaxies beyond our own. By the end of the decade, he had discovered that the other galaxies were moving away from the Milky Way, and that the galaxies farthest away were moving the fastest. These findings led to the formation of the Big Bang Theory, which is widely accepted by today's astronomers as the explanation for the beginning of the universe. Hubble was also the first to provide evidence that the universe is homogeneous, meaning the same in all directions as far as the telescope can see. When scientists placed a powerful telescope in orbit around Earth, they named it the Hubble telescope, a fitting tribute to the man who discovered that our universe was much bigger than just the Milky Way.
Are you hoping your Saturday nights will liven up?
You are a lonely man, aren't you?
Looking for some explosive action? Beginning January 30th, Saturday nights on AFN will never be the same.
Sounds
riveting.
We're moving The Pretender to Saturday nights.
Which is why I wanted you to see for yourself.
The Pretender, Saturday nights beginning January 30th at 7 p.m.
That's a wrap.
It's Heavenly, Touched by an Angel, Tuesdays at 7 on AFN.
Can you give us humans any advice about our eating habits?
Well, sure. You people should include a grain like whole grain bread in your daily meals. It has fiber in it, and that does the same for you as hay does for me. It helps our digestion.
Eat something every day from the vegetable group. Vegetables contain minerals and vitamins, and you humans need a fresh supply of them every day.
I recommend bananas, because fruit has lots of complex carbohydrates. They'll give you enough energy to monkey around all day long.
Mom says I need lots of calcium to make me strong and help me grow. I get my milk from Mom, but humans can get the calcium they need from milk and other dairy products, like yogurt and cheese.
And I'm sure the king of the jungle has some advice for us humans, right, Theo?
You bet. Your bodies need protein, so I advise meat or a meat alternative, like dried beans.
Balance your meals and get the nutrients you need by choosing wisely from the 5 food groups.
Marine Captain Gibbons gets help gathering newspapers to be recycled. Sergeant Rodriguez picks up recycled paper for his office. To conserve power, Senior Chief Newton turns off electrical items at the end of each day. Air Force Staff Sergeant Winchell knows the dangers of dumping used oil, so she properly disposes of it at the auto hobby shop. The DoD's efforts to reduce, reuse, and recycle add up to a brighter future for everyone.
Jay's all new all this week, and in case you needed further proof that the holiday season is over, plus movie megastar John Travolta, Dennis Miller, Newt Gingrich, Michael Caine, Tracy Ullman, Val Kilmer, Jay's Pop Quiz, and Wild Animals. Hey, here's an offer you don't get every day.
Free breast implants with the purchase of a new mobile home. There you go.
Jay's all new all this week on NBC.
You're watching AFN Pacific, a service of AFRTS.